Greetings friends and welcome back to Recon by Fire. For today's battle, the world leaders are running Goretrack Onslaught that is going to allow them to give buffs for disembarking transports and vessels of wrath, which is going to give a slight upgrade to their characters. They're running Angron as the spearhead, 2 Master of Executions, each leading a 10-man Berserker squad, 2x5 squads of Chaos Terminators, 2x3 squads of Eightbound, a 10-man Jakhal squad, 2x2 squads of Chaos Spawn, a Chaos Land Raider, and 2 Chaos Rhinos. Steve is back in the building and he's bringing his Drukhari running the Skysplinter assault detachment, which will also benefit his army for embarking and disembarking transports, and Exhibition of Slaughter, which is going to buff his Wyches. He's bringing Drazhar leading a 5-man squad of Incubi, Lady Malys leading 5 Hand of the Archon that were split thanks to a Venom, an Archon leading 10 Kabalite Warriors, a Haemonculus leading 5 Wracks, a Succubus leading 10 Wyches, 2x5 squads of Wyches thanks to again it being split by a Venom, 5 Corsair Voidreavers, a 5-man Hand of the Archon, 2x5 squads of Mandrakes, 2x5 squads of Scourges with Dark Lances, a squad of Reavers, 2 Kronos, a Ravager with Disintegrator Cannons, a Raider, and 3 Venoms. World Leader's primary mission is going to be Vanguard Operation, and for the Drukhari, it's Search and Scour. We're playing on Terrain Layout Bravo with a tipping point deployment. But before we get this battle started, I want to take a moment to give a special shout out to our channel members. Your support is awesome and I really appreciate you, with our latest members being Burger Lords, Knight of Iron, and Anime Squirrel. Thank you guys so much for the ongoing support. You rock. For pregame actions, the Hand of the Archon that is attached to Lady Malys will select the center objective, and the other 5 are going to select their natural expansion. They will have a 3 OC and a 5 up invul while on those respective objectives. For redeployment, the Mandrakes are going to get picked up. World leaders are going to scout Chaos Spawn towards the center objective 8 inches, and the second squad are going to scout towards the Drukhari expansion. Corsair Voidreavers are going to scout 7 inches onto the center objective. Hand of the Archon will scout onto the Drukhari expansion. Turn 1 for the world leaders, they will draw center ground and bring it down as their secondaries for the turn. Blessings of Khorne are simply sustained hits 1. Chaos Spawn move to flank the Corsairs on the center. Chaos Spawn will move forward in stage to threaten the Drukhari expansion. Rhino will move on to the center and complete the action. Berzerkers will disembark the second Rhino and move in on the Mandrakes. Rhino will then position inside the objective and against the wall. Eightbound are going to move backwards to help screen the backfield. Second Eightbound squad will move up behind the Chaos Spawn. Start of the charge phase, and the Chaos Spawn roll a 6 charging the Corsairs. Berzerkers roll a 7 and charge the Mandrakes. Master of Executions then proceeds to cut down all the Mandrakes, which would be a phenomenal time for you to hit that like and subscribe button if you're enjoying the battle report thus far. Chaos Spawn go feral on the Corsairs, taking down the entire unit. After Mo and company consolidate, world leaders will burn a command point to allow them to embark the Rhino once again. That is going to end the turn for the world leaders. They will score 4 points on the action, 2 points for killing a unit, 5 points for center ground, and discard Bring It Down for a command point. Turn 1 for the Drukhari, and they will draw Plunder and engage on all fronts as their secondaries for the turn. Start of the movement phase, and the Wyches will advance 10 inches onto the center objective. Scourges step out from the building to gain line of sight into the Chaos Spawn. Venom will advance 16 inches onto the Drukhari expansion. Second Venom will take its place staging for next turn. Reavers are going to reposition behind the wall. Ravager will advance 17 inches and stage behind the Reavers. Start of the shooting phase, the Scourges will burn a pain token to fire into the Chaos Spawn, incinerating them. They proceed to fire and fade back into the building. That's going to end the turn for the Drukhari. They will score 3 points for controlling the center objective and 2 points for destroying a unit inside of an objective. Turn 2 for the World Eaters, they will draw Secure No Man's Land and Burden of Trust as their secondaries for the turn. Blessings for the round are 6-inch Pile In and Consolidate, and Sustain hits 1. Jakhals will sticky their home objective. They control one objective outside of their home and will score 4 points on primary. Mo and the Berzerkers will disembark the Rhino and move in on the Wyches. Chaos Spawn advance 11 inches onto the Drukhari expansion. Steve will burn 1 CP to reactive move the Venom away from the spawn. Eightbound will take the place of the Chaos Spawn in the pocket. 5-man Terminator squad will deep strike behind the terrain feature. Berzerkers will open fire on the Venom, dealing no damage. It's charge o'clock and the Berzerkers roll a 5 into the Wyches. Chaos Spawn roll an 8 and charge the hand of the Archon. Chaos Spawn attack the hand, ripping apart 3 of them. The 2 survivors counterattack but only score 1 wound. Mo and the Berzerkers wreak havoc on the Wyches, taking down the entire unit. 6-inch Consolidate and 1 CP to put them back into the Rhino. World Eaters are going to score 5 on Secure No Man's Land, 4 for completing the action, and 2 for earning a kill. Turn 2 for the Drukhari, secondaries are Plunder, Engage on all fronts, Attempting Target, and Outflank. Tempting Target will be the World Eater expansion. They want Same Bravery the hand, earning them 4 points for holding an objective. They farm an additional pain token, and the Raider is set to 6-inch Disembark. Start of the movement phase, and the Warriors will disembark the Venom, moving on to the center objective. Witches with the Succubus will disembark the Raider. They will advance 10 inches towards the World Eater Terminators. Hand of the Archon will fall back from the spawn further into the expansion. Venom is going to move into their expansion. Malys alongside the Hand of the Archon will disembark the Venom onto their expansion. Warriors will get inside the nearby Raider. Empty Venom will move behind the wall opposite the Terminators. At the end of the movement phase, World Eaters will burn a command point to rapid ingress Angron to defend their expansion. Start of the shooting phase, and the Scourges will burn a pain token that is then refunded by the nearby Kronos, and without remorse vaporize the Chaos Spawn. Scourges then fire and fade towards the center. Witches use a pain token to advance and charge and roll a 10 to make the charge into the Terminators, making sure to force a heroic from Angron if he wants to get in. Into the fight phase, and the Witches send approximately 400 attacks into the Terminators, taking down 2 and wounding a 3rd. World Eater Terminators attempt to do some crumping of their own, but only take down 5 Witches, leaving the Succubus unharmed. That's going to end the turn for the Drukhari. They will score 3 points on Engage on all fronts, 3 points for controlling the center, 2 points for earning a kill, and the World Eaters will score 5 points on their Burden of Trust. Turn 3 for the World Eaters, they will draw Forward Position and Assassination as their secondaries for the turn. Blessings for the round are 6-inch Pile In and Consolidate, and Sustain hits 1. They control one objective and will score 4 points on primary. Mo and company disembark the Rhino and move in on the Warriors. We go straight into charges, and the same squad will roll a 4, making it into the Warrior squad. Angron rolls a 6 and charges the Succubus. Into the fight phase, and we start with Angron pulverizing the Witches and the Succubus. Master of Executions does something very similar to the Warriors on the center. After I remember it's a 6-inch Pile In instead of a 3, the Terminators will overrun fight into the Venom, taking it off the field. 1 CP for Mo and company to bravely run back into the Rhino. World Eaters will score 5 for Assassination, 4 for completing the action, 2 for earning a kill, and discard Forward Position for a command point. Turn 3, and the Drukhari will draw Plunder, Outflank, Attempting Target, Display of Might, and Burden of Trust as their secondaries for the turn. Wounded Hand of the Archon will fail their leadership check and are battle shocked. Mandrakes are going to deep strike in on the center objective behind the wall. Raider is going to fly forward, touching the objective to see both the Terminators and Angron. Warrior Brick is going to disembark the Raider, making sure to not trigger the reactive disembark from the Rhino. Reavers are going to skirt the table edge to gain line of sight into Angron. Ravager is going to reposition up against the wall. Scourges are going to move up against the battlefield edge to also gain line of sight into Angron. Second squad of Scourges will position themselves behind obscuring terrain. Kronos will move up to stage for next turn. Venom will move towards the Eightbound and the Incubi will disembark. Start of the shooting phase and the Reavers will fire into Angron, failing to score a wound. Scourges use a pain token, dealing 1 damage to the Terminators, but Angron will make the invul save. Warriors also burn a pain token as they will split fire. The Archon will chuck a free grenade into the Terminators, taking down 1 of them, and the heavy weapons take down the Rhino. The remaining small arms fire goes into the Terminators, wiping the rest of the squad. 1 CP for Drazhar and company to be able to charge out of the Venom, and they roll a 9 into the Eightbound. Eightbound succeed their leadership check but then proceed to get cut down by the Incubi. 1 CP for the Warriors to get back in the Raider, and Drazhar will get back in the Venom. That's going to end the turn for the Drukhari. They will score 5 points on Outflank and 2 points for Display of Might. Turn 4, and the World Eaters draw a tempting target and beacon as their secondaries for the turn. Blessings for the round are 6-inch Paladin or Consolidate, and Sustain hits 1. Master of Executions is good on its leadership check and is no longer battle shocked. And the World Eaters control an objective, scoring them 4 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, and the Eightbound go after the Reaver bikes. Angron will take to the skies and move towards both ships. Steve says absolutely not and will spend 1 command point to react and move the Raider away. Mo and company push further up the center of the field. World Eaters burn a command point to allow the Rhino to move through walls and land on the center objective to action. Jakhals advance 13 inches to cover the World Eaters expansion. Terminators are going to disembark the Land Raider and move in on the Venom. Land Raider will then back up and pivot to touch the terrain feature but remain off the center objective. Start of the shooting phase, the Land Raider will fire everything into the Venom, destroying it. Drazhar and company are going to disembark, losing 2 to mortal wounds. Berserker Brick will throw explosives and shoot into the Raider, dealing 3 damage total. It's charge o'clock, and Angron will command reroll a 6 into a 7, making the charge into the Ravager. Terminators roll a 10 and charge Drazhar and company. Master of Executions rolls a 7 and charges the Mandrakes. Eightbound roll a 4, and it's just enough to make it into the bikes. In a wicked smart play, Steve will heroically intervene with the Kronos into the Berzerkers. Berzerkers are going to take down the Mandrakes, and the Master of Executions will swing into the Kronos, dealing 3 damage. Kronos will activate next, burning a pain token as they lash into the Berzerkers, taking down 2 of them and wounding a 3rd. They will heal back up to full. Angron will split his attacks, destroying the Ravager and taking down 3 of the Scourges. World Eater Power Fist proved to be too much for Drazhar as his entire unit gets wiped out. The Terminators will then consolidate onto the Drukhari expansion. Eightbound wipe out the Reavers and consolidate back onto their expansion. World Leaders will discard a tempting target for a command point, score 2 for earning a kill, score 4 for completing the action, and the Drukhari will complete their Burden of Trust, earning them 4 points. Turn 4, and the Drukhari have secured No Man's Land, Assassination, a tempting target, and Plunder as their secondaries for the turn. They control 1 objective and will score 4 points on primary. Scourges will fall back from Angron. Haemonculus will move 2.1 inches away from Acrhon. Warriors will disembark the Raider within range of both Angron and the Berzerkers. Scourges want in on the action and will tow on to the nearby terrain feature to see Acrhon. Hand of the Archon will fall back from the Terminators. Scourges burn a command point that gets refunded by the Kronos as they fire into Angron. Command reroll on the damage, and he's down to 8 wounds remaining. Archon chucks a free explosives into Angron, dealing 3 mortal wounds, and then the Warriors burn a pain token with the heavy weapons, finishing off the Primarch. The remaining small arms fire goes into the Berzerkers, taking down 1 and wounding a 2nd. Berserker squad will blood surge 5 inches into the Kronos. Malys and company shoot into the Terminators, dealing 0 damage. Venom fires into the Terminators, dealing 2 damage. Raider finishes off the wounded Terminator. It's charge o'clock, and Malys rolls a 6, making the charge into the Terminators. Archon and the Warriors roll a 6 and make the charge into the Berzerkers and Master of Executions. Malys starts us off by failing her hazard check, but makes it worth it as she shreds through 3 of the Terminators, leaving 1 alive at a single wound. The Berzerkers are within Malys' Vector and will pay 3 CP to interrupt. Berzerkers will deal 3 damage to a Kronos, take down 4 warriors, and the Mo solos the Archon, earning them back a CP. The remaining warriors and Kronos all swing into the Berzerkers, cutting down 2 of them and healing back up to full. Clapback from the surviving Terminator takes down 1 hand. The Drukhari are going to score 2 points for earning a kill, 3 points for controlling the center, 5 points for assassination, and 5 points for secure no man's land. World Eaters will score 3 points for completing their beacon. Turn 5 and the World Eaters draw Display of Might and Outflank as their secondaries for the turn. Blessings for the round are Fight on Death and Sustained Hits. They control 1 objective and will score 4 points on primary. World Eaters burn a command point for the Land Raider to go through walls as it moves towards the table edge. Terminator will fall back onto the center objective. Berzerkers disembark the Rhino and move 2.1 inches away from the warrior squad. Jakhals advance to hide everyone inside their expansion, and the Eightbound will do the same thing. Land Raider fires into the Raider, but it survives at 1 wound. Master of Execution chucks an explosive at it to finish it off. The Berzerker squad rolls an 8 and they charge both the Kronos and the warriors on the center objective. Berzerkers have no problem taking down the remaining warriors and bring a Kronos down to 2 wounds remaining. Kronos will hit back, eviscerating 3 of the Berzerkers and healing back up to 5 wounds remaining. The lone Mo strikes back for only 1 damage. World Eaters are going to score 2 points on Display of Might, 5 points on Outflank, 4 points for completing the action, and 2 points for earning a kill. Drukhari are going to cycle away Tempting Target with new orders, drawing them Plunder, Center Ground, Beacon, and Cleanse as their secondaries for the turn. Start of the movement phase, the Venom will move on to the center objective and begin to cleanse. Malys and company will move towards the center. The small squad of Scourges will gain line of sight into the lone Terminator. Second squad of Scourges will move on to the center objective near the Venom. Scourges proceed to nuke the lone Terminator. Malys command rerolls a 4 into a 6 and makes the charge into the Berzerkers. Malys went in there with a mission and cuts down 5 of the Berzerkers, which is enough to clear off the center objective for them. That's going to end the turn and the game for the Drukhari. They will score 4 points for controlling an objective, 5 points for center ground, 3 points for their beacon surviving, 5 points for cleansing 2 objectives, 3 points for controlling the center, 2 points for killing a unit, and at the end of the game, an additional 5 points for having no enemy units in their territory. That is going to make the final score 85-72 in favor of the World Eaters. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the show. If you've made it this far and enjoyed it and want to see more of it, then take a moment to hit that like button and let me know in the comments down below what you would have done differently. If you'd like to support the channel directly, then you can become a channel member and get your name shouted out on these battle reports. But that will do it for today. If you want some additional sweet tournament scene content to include rules, breakdowns, and advanced techniques, then check out Onslaught Gaming 40K right here on YouTube. The link will be in the description below. So until the next battle, my friends, as always, happy hunting.